Hello, this is chapter 8. I think we're about halfway done with the book, so we're doing really good. If you made it this far, way to go. We're going to get through this, and I hope that you're learning things. I hope it's going well for you. Chapter 8 is renunciation. There is no coal of character so dead that it will not glow and flame if but slightly turned. Resist not evil. Whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. There's a great difference between resisting evil and renouncing it. When you resist evil, you give it your attention. You continue to make it real. When you renounce evil, you take your attention from it and give your attention to what you want. Now is the time to control your imagination and give beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. You give beauty for ashes when you concentrate your attention on things as you would like them to be, rather than on things as they are. You give joy for mourning when you maintain a joyous attitude regardless of unfavorable circumstances. You give praise for the spirit of heaviness when you maintain a confident attitude instead of succumbing to despondency. Excuse me. In this quotation, the Bible uses the word tree as a synonym for man. You become a tree of righteousness when the above mental states are a permanent part of your consciousness. You are a planting of the Lord when all your thoughts are true thoughts. He is I am, as described in chapter 1. I am is glorified when your highest concept of yourself is manifested. When you have discovered your own controlled imagination to be your savior, your attitude will be completely altered without any diminution of religious feeling. Without any diminution of religious feeling. And you will say of your controlled imagination, "Behold this vine. I found it a wild tree, whose wanton strength had swollen into irregular twigs. But I pruned the plant, and it grew temperate in its vain expense of useless leaves, and nodded, as you see, into these clean, full clusters to repay the hand that wisely wounded it." By vine is meant your imagination, which, in its uncontrolled state, expends its energy in useless or destructive thoughts and feelings, intrusive thoughts, not catching your feelings. But you, just as the vine is pruned by cutting away its useless branches and roots, you prune your imagination by withdrawing your attention from all unlovely and destructive ideas and concentrating on the ideal you wish to attain. The happier, more noble life you will experience will be the result of wisely pruning your imagination. Yes, be pruned of all unlovely thoughts and feelings that you may think truly, and thy thoughts shall the world's famine feed. Speak truly, and each word of thine shall be a fruitful seed. Live truly, and thy life shall be a great and noble creed. That was a short chapter. So, intrusive thoughts happen, negative feelings happen when something around you is not going the way that you want it to go. If someone says something that you don't like, things happen, and it's sort of human to react to them. But when these intrusive thoughts happen, when these feelings happen, it's more important to acknowledge them and to let them pass. You can't, when you push something away without sort of dealing with it, those things tend to get pushed down. They don't get pushed out in a way. They'll be projected out, but they'll also be pushed down and turned into a resentment of something or a fear, or it gets put towards like a mindset of, or an assumption that we have of something. It adds on to it. It adds on to that belief that we have about something. So the best thing you can do when these things happen is just to see it for what it is. See it without reacting. See it without emotion. See it for what it is. Accept it. Just acknowledge it, that it happened, or that it is what it is. And then now, after you do that, after you accept something for what it is, you're not in the consciousness of this thing is happening to me, or that you are below this thing, that you are a victim of this thing. When you accept something as it is, you accept it to be what it is, you're no longer in that state. You're not on the same level of that thing. You're above it. You're able to look onto it and see that this is what it is. You're no longer in it. You're not a part of it. You're outside of it. This situation is what it is. And now, in this moment, I'm going to accept it for what it is, and now I'm going to act. You can act, you can speak up, you can leave, you can do what you need to do, right? But see something for what it is and let it be what it is and move past it. It's a lot easier to see something, acknowledge something, than to completely ignore it, right? It's so hard to pretend that something's not true when it's directly in front of us. So, yeah, and it absolutely gets easier the more that you do it, the more that you practice having positive thoughts and training your attention, controlling your imagination, especially if you do that exercise before bed, replaying your day backwards from when you got into bed to what you did before getting into bed and every little thing. It sounds probably silly if you read that for the first time, but it really does help. Another thing too, to control your imagination and mostly your attention, is to just do one thing at a time. Treat things like, break everything down into a simple task, right? Me making this was, I'm sitting down to read this book on camera, whatever, and that's only the task. When you focus on one task at a time, you're making your mind only focus on that thing. And when you focus on something, whether it's like brushing your teeth or taking a shower, or if you do read a book or doing the dishes, folding your laundry, doing anything, break it down to the bare minimum. Break it down to what it is and say it out loud as you're doing it too. I'm folding this shirt, right? One thing that helped me was to focus my senses on that thing instead of focusing my mind on that thing. So, for example, if I were folding laundry, I would say that I'm folding this black shirt in half, and you can tell yourself how it feels in your hands, but don't give your mind open-ended concepts, right? Don't be like, I'm folding this black shirt that I wore to this thing and it reminds me of this thing, because then you're just giving your mind an out. You're giving it a means to start going to all these other thoughts and places. So say what you're doing while you're doing it, or say it in your mind. Keep it outside of you and keep it simple. When you're done with that task, then you think ahead to what you want to do next, whether that's, I'm going to walk to the kitchen to get a drink of water. You do that and don't think anything else except for about the task that you're doing. While you're walking to the kitchen, think about how the floor feels on your feet, or think about the color of the floor while you are walking on it. Keep the thoughts really short, keep them simple, keep it on the thing itself that you're focused on. And that's how you can focus your attention also. That was a lot. I read this book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and I've read it, I think, 3 times now in the last 3 days, but it's really good. And it's really helpful in present moment awareness. I might make another video on that, I think. That way, it's a little bit different from Neville Goddard's teachings, but they can be used together as I'm learning. You can sort of take bits and pieces from both to make the world work as you want it to, really. But anyway, this chapter was really short, and I hope that it helped you, and thank you for watching and for being here. Yeah, that's it. I love you. I'm gonna go. Bye.